Hi, welcome or welcome back to Gavin Reads It All. I hope you don't mind that I'm doing another book haul. Some of these are pretty new releases, so I wanted to go through them and just chat about them and just talk all things books. We're going to be here a while, I think. And all of these are from the end of January to now. So it has been a couple of months accumulating. I did get some when I was in Iceland. I might have shown some of these in various videos since January because I have actually read some of these and I've enjoyed quite a few of these as well. So let's just dive in. But before I do, please leave this video a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you haven't already. And the first book I want to talk about, I have them all stacked up. I can literally talk about anything. I'm going to keep manga and stuff at the end there. That can be the little bonus book haul. I'm going to go with, you know what, I'm going to go with the most obvious one. I think Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I read this one the day it came out. I was so excited. And upon reflection, I initially gave this book 3 stars. Upon reflection, I might bump it up to 3.5 because I did have such a phenomenal time reading this. And it has been over a week of sitting on this book and on this rating, and I still think about certain parts of it. I still really remember so much of it. It's so memorable, so entertaining. It is set during the 50th Hunger Games, and these are Haymitch's games, and Haymitch is a character in the original Hunger Games trilogy, and it's such a good time. It is a really good time. It wasn't perfect to me, it wasn't as good as the original trilogy, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. So this is my first book that I want to talk about. Please let me know down below if you've read this already. I do have a reading vlog reading all of the Hunger Games books, and it's all filled with spoilers. So if you've read all of the books, I will have that link down below. The Hunger Games series is one of my favorites of all time, and Suzanne Collins is one of my favorite authors of all time. Ash is lying on the little comfy seat watching Daddy work. Hiya, baby. Hiya, baby. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so beautiful. Okay, next, I want to talk about, I might as well talk about another one that I've read recently. Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. I bought this one through The Broken Binding. I pretty much gave this one a 5-star prediction because I picked this for this vlog won't end until I find a 5 stars video, and I gave it 5 stars. Spoiler alert. Blood Over Brighthaven is so good. I love the magic system so much. The main character is one of the main characters who I didn't like at first, but I really liked their character journey and I like their character arc. And this does follow the first ever female mage who got put into this order of mages, and she ends up unraveling this years and decades long conspiracy of magic and this certain event called the Blight. So that's all I'll say about it. Just really, really good. And I absolutely do love my Broken Binding edition of the book. I do hope that they release the Sword of Kaigen like this, because I have yet to find a copy of the Sword of Kaigen from the same author that I like. I mean, I could just get the normal paperback, absolutely, but I'm predicting that the Broken Binding is going to announce an edition of the Sword of Kaigen soon. How could they release this one and not that one? So we'll say I'm biding my time with it. I don't want to have to buy the book twice. While I'm on the Broken Binding train, I do have the 3rd book in the 3 Body Problem series. It might have a different name, by Six and Liu, translated by Ken Liu. And yeah, 3rd book in the series. I am subscribed to Broken Binding. I get their fantasy sub every month. Or was this their sci-fi? I do also have the sci-fi one. This might be in the sci-fi one, actually. I can't remember now. But I am very excited to read this series. Broken Binding have knocked it out of the park yet again with one of their special editions. Genuinely my favorite book box subscription ever. I love them so much. 3rd and final book in the trilogy. Won't say much more than that, but I plan on trying to do a complete series reading vlog for it at some point. Right, let's take a little break from Broken Binding. I do have more, but let's show you the next 3 Dungeon Crawler Carl books. I've got book 2, which is Carl's Doomsday Scenario. Book 3, which is the Dungeon Anarchist's Cookbook. And then I also have The Gate of the Feral Gods. And yes, this is books 2, 3, and 4 in Dungeon Crawler Carl. I think my favorite new series that I've read in the past few years. It's definitely creeping up there. I plan on rereading the 1st book in April with my patrons, and then continuing with the series and doing a complete series reading vlog again, because the 1st book just brought me so much joy and laughter, and it was so good, and it became one of my favorite books of 2024. So the natural thing to do is to continue the series. And I believe book 5 comes out in April in hardback, and then book 6 in May in hardback. Now, I don't know about book 7, so I might have to go to Kindle Unlimited for the rest of the series that I don't own physically, which is fine to do because I think the books are all free on Kindle Unlimited, or at least the first few are. So I can just do it that way, and then obviously have these copies. You are kidding me. There is a lawnmower going off right now. So, although that does look fun. He's in one of those ones that's almost like a golf cart thing. One of those lawnmowers that you drive. That does look really, really fun. He's disturbing the peace, isn't he, Ash? Wonder if you'll do my garden for me. Anyway, continuing on, another book that I've already read is Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. Got this one while I was out and about in Edinburgh and I saw this in Moorstones. So this just follows Zelu. She is an author, but she gets rejected so many times. She also gets fired from her teaching job. And so at wit's end and not sure what else to do, she ends up writing a book that is so out of her comfort zone that it actually ends up becoming very successful. And this is a bit of a like mixed media kind of book because you do have excerpts from her book in the story, and those were some of my favorite parts of the story. So you do get like elements of sci-fi because her story is a sci-fi novel. And so I really enjoyed it. I read this for a 24-hour readathon and it was great. It was a great time. My pre-order of The Dark Mirror by Samantha Shannon came. This is the 5th book in the Bone Season series. And because I've read all of the books so far, but because the first 4 books have been like kind of rewritten and reworked, I do need to reread them because I don't really know what changes Samantha Shannon has made before I get into book 5. But I had this on pre-order from Forbidden Planet. This is the Forbidden Planet edition. And all of my Bone Season books are from Forbidden Planet. Nothing special under the dust jacket or anything, but it is signed. And yeah, I love the series, but it has been such a long time since I read them. It's been about 6 years, I think, since I read the first book. So a reread is definitely needed. We do follow Paige Mahoney. And like, I've forgotten so much, but like, she was like a psychic, or at least she had like psychic powers. Oh my God, I can't even explain the series anymore. Like, that's how long it's been. I was even part of a read along for it for like months reading the series. But yeah, that was a totally different time. So I'm wondering, should I just read these like one by one, or should I try and do a complete series reading vlog for it again? There are so many books in series that I want to do a complete series reading vlog for. I'm like, okay, the list is just getting longer and longer because the next one I also kind of want to do a complete series reading vlog for. Oh, honestly, my plans. And from Broken Binding, I got the Malazan books, at least the first 3. So we have Gardens of the Moon, Dead House Gates, and Memories of Ice. So I'm going to read these 3 and do a vlog reading these 3. I have been told not to do that, but I like to do the opposite of what I get told to do because these are dense and these can be like very hard to get into. But I really want to like make the effort because I want to know before Broken Binding put 4 to 6 on sale if this is a series for me. And if it isn't, that's fine. I can always either gift these to someone or sell them, but I'm holding out hope that I do love the Malazan series. I am in my fantasy era at the minute, and I really, really, really want to read these and love these. So the Broken Binding editions are, again, gorgeous. Oh, I'm telling you, they're my favorite. They're my absolute favorite. And I am desperate to read these. I don't know when I'm going to fit it in. I'm hoping at some point this year. I really do want it to be this year. But all I know about it is that the Malazan Empire is in discontent. I feel like I would be part of the fantasy bros if I end up reading all of these and enjoying them. So what can I say? I will do anything to fit in. Please let me know down below if you have read the Malazan books and if you think it would be worthwhile doing the first 3 in one video. I think doing 3 per video would be absolutely fine to do. I've just realized my Memories of Ice dust jacket, the embossed thing is like not in line. Which honestly, I don't care. I don't care. I don't mind it when books come a little bit damaged. Like this is quite scuffed. Like this wasn't cheap and it's come quite scuffed. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. Okay, because I'm probably getting like so much hate right now for buying books that I haven't read yet. Which, I mean, why would you buy a book you have read before unless it's like a favorite? Anyway, a series that I have actually read and started, and I got the sequel from Fairy Loot, is Where the Library Hides by Isabella Banez. I read What the River Knows last year when I went to Egypt, and I had a fun time. I had a good, engaging time, and it made me intrigued enough to get the sequel from Fairy Loot. And What the River Knows is one of my most prized possessions now because I got all my travelers for my travel trip to Egypt to like write in my copy of What the River Knows because it was our group book and our buddy read for it. And I've got all the messages for all my travelers and it's very special to me. And so I really can't wait to read the sequel, you know, just to continue those Egypt vibes. I hope it's as good as the first book. It might not be, and that's fine. There were some twists and turns at the end of What the River Knows that made me interested in continuing the series. I don't know if it's just a duology or if it's going to be a trilogy or anything, but it would be nice if it was just a duology because I do like duologies. I like how compact they can be. But yeah, we followed Inez and she was going to Egypt because her parents had gone missing. No idea what the sequel is about though. I'm hoping there's a library involved. Another sequel I got because I enjoyed the first book was Cursebound by Sarah El Arifi. I read Fearbound, I think it was last year. And so I pre-ordered the Waterstones edition and it looks very pretty if you ask me. This series has Fae in it. We had Yiran. She really wanted to be like a warrior. She loved to fight in the first book from what I remember. She also had a sister called Lettel. And I think now in this book they are the 2 main characters. And they just keep on adventuring. Sounds good. I picked up Model Home by River Solomon while I was out and about in Waterstones during my 24 hours, so you might have seen the cover of this one when I hold it in that video. I'm really excited to read more River Solomon. Fantastic, fantastic writer. This one looks so creepy. It was definitely the cover that drew me in. I love the fact that on the side there's like 3 people standing and it just like kind of continues over. I'm like, what do you mean? Why is there a spider on top of the home? Why? Riddle me that. So the bodies of Ezri's parents are found in this like gated community in Dallas, Texas. And they're found in like the garden of their home, like their childhood home. And it's home that Ezri's escaped. There's some bad memories there. Feels like it might be haunted. And then Ezri and their siblings have to confront why they left in the first place upon their parents' death. Doesn't that just sound so good? Like, I'm already getting prepped for spooky season this year. I'm already getting prepped for all the scary stories I want to read. This is definitely up there for one that I'm just so genuinely excited for. I also have Bat Eater by Kylie Leigh Baker. This is the Evernight edition. I always end up skipping Evernight when it's a book that I don't really like, but they have been pretty good the past couple of like times. And I have been dying to read this one ever since I've seen some initial good reviews for it when it first came out. This one follows Cora, and she is a crime scene cleaner, and she did witness her sister's death by being pushed in front of a train years ago. However, the person who did that has never been caught, and she did hear her sister's killer say Bat Eater. That was like the last thing she heard from him. So what does that mean? How are we going to investigate this? I cannot wait to read more horror. Genuinely can't wait to read more horror. Speaking of something that might be a little bit strange and weird, The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I've seen some of my friends give it 5 stars. I've seen some friends give it about 3.5 stars. I think I'm going to love it. I do. I think I'm going to love this one. People have said it's like a modern day Grimm's fairy tale in a way, and it can be very, very strange. Sign me the fuck up. So all I know about this one is that we have Margot and Mama. Well, I think Mama is Margot's mother, and they live in like this little cottage thing, I think, like in the woods. And Mama loves the strays, so like anyone who like randomly finds the house, they welcome in. But then Mama like eats them, like dismembers them and stuff like that. Or at least they say she satisfies her burning appetite by picking apart their bodies. So I actually don't know if she eats them. That might be misinformation. I could be sued for slander. However, that sounds so good. That sounds like right up my street. And Emily, if you're watching, I will read this, okay? I know you want me to read this. I will. What next? What next? I love the fact that I can just pick anything. Games Untold by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This one is a pre-order from Fairy Loot. I believe this is a short story collection in the Inheritance Games series, and I have all of the Fairy Loot editions for that series, including the Brothers Hawthorne. So I needed to pick this one up as well to complete the collection. Oh, you know what? Actually, there might be one that I don't have. I don't know if they have released it though. The Grandest Game? I don't actually think I have that one. Did Fairy Loot even do an edition of that? Oh god. Okay, well, still glad I have this one though, and still glad I have what I think is the complete collection. I really enjoyed the first Emily Wilds book. I didn't love it, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I haven't yet read the second book, but I do own it. And so I did manage to get a pre-order for Emily Wilds' Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett from Fairy Loot as well. Another beautiful edition, and it's really nice to have the trilogy so far. Don't know if there's going to be more books in the series, but yeah, I really liked the first book. I read it for a book club for my Patreon. It was something that I just like really vibed with. And you know when you do that with a book, but like it isn't only your favorite or anything, but you just like really vibe with it. You really, really fuck with it. And I fucked with Emily Wilde. I kind of love the like cozy academic feel to it. I love the investigation into like fairies and just like the nature of the world. And it's just like such a nice, pleasing time. So one that doesn't blow me away, but does keep me comforted. The next trilogy that Broken Binding are doing is the Rook and Rose trilogy. And so I have the first 2 books from the Broken Binding. So we have the Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick, and I just got through the post The Liar's Knot, which is the second book in the series. I had never heard of this series before, and I love discovering new series through the Broken Binding. And this one does sound right up my street. This one follows Renata. They are a con artist in a city of dreams, and she needs to trick her way into a noble's home in order to get her fortune and her sister's fortune. This is a tale of corrupted magic and adventure. So yeah, sign me up for this series. I cannot freaking wait. I hope they don't fall. Another series that I read the first book for, and I did like it despite a lot of people telling me it wasn't really that good of a book, and that's the God Killer book by Hannah Kana. I do have my pre-order of the 3rd book, which is called Faithbreaker. Don't know if this is the final book in the series or if it's just a trilogy, but I honestly was pleasantly surprised by God Killer. Despite some people not liking it, I did really jive with the story again. From what I remember, it was Kissin who was the main character, and they hate the gods. They want to kill the gods. The gods did something awful, and Kissin wants to make them pay. So I'm kind of hoping this comes up again on Imposter Talks, because I would like to continue the series, or I could just continue the series just because I want to. I don't need to wait for a prompt to read them. but sometimes it's more fun that way. Okay, a series I love. I love the series. I definitely love the first 2 books. Third book was underwhelming, and I don't own the 4th book that came in the set. So Illumicrate, which I don't really mention that much, do I? Yeah, I don't really think I've mentioned much of Illumicrate. They did the Arc of a Scythe series, and it's one of my favorite young adult series ever. I've never read Gleanings before, and I did get the Fairy Loot editions years ago, but they never released Gleanings, and so I wanted to get that, as well as like these new copies of Scythe and Thunderhead and the Toll, because I actually prefer these editions over the Fairy Loot editions. I absolutely love the stenciled edges for one, but I also just love the covers too. So that's Scythe, this is Thunderhead, and oh my gosh, the ending of Thunderhead still leaves me wigless. It still makes me gasp when I think about the end of Thunderhead. Oh, so good. And then The Toll, I need to reread this series because I remember when The Toll first came out, I was severely disappointed by it, but that was back in, I think 2019 when The Toll came out. So it's been 6 years. My expectations are definitely much lower, so I think in a reread, I might enjoy The Toll more, potentially, but I have been genuinely interested in rereading the series. You know, I haven't done kind of like a young adult flashback kind of thing where I've done like the Raven Cycle, I've done the Hunger Games, I want to do Twilight, and then like, yeah, rereading the Arc of a Scythe series I think would be good. I would love to reread the Lunar Chronicles as well. Like there are so many like amazing young adult series that I have loved in the past. Apart from Twilight, I haven't loved that, but it is the 20th anniversary this year, so I do want to read it. Arc of a Scythe is definitely a series that I really, really want to get back into. And again, I've never read Gleanings before, so this will be my first time reading it, and just really glad that it came with a set. I know it was a bit costly, but I know I love the series, so I didn't mind. And then I can just like sell my Fairy Loot editions and make some of the money back, I think. I know people are going to have opinions on that. I have 2 Fairy Loot Romantasy books I want to talk about before I get into my stack of paperbacks. But I do have Iron and Embers by Helen Schurer. This one I think was the February or January Fairy Loot Romantasy. And then I also have Firebird by Julia Cross. This was like the latest one. It could have been February, it was just a little bit late. Or this could be the March one. I don't know at this point. This one does sound so good, Iron and Embers. This one follows an alchemist turned assassin, and she is seeking vengeance for the death of her friends. Her name is Ren, and events happen, and she is tasked to find a cure for a poison or something like that. I don't know. It's big, but it's beautiful, and it sounds good. And then Firebird also sounds pretty good. Love the addition of it. Love the cover and everything. Stunning. Yeah, I don't have the Fairy Loot Young Adult or Adult subscription anymore. I just have the Fairy Loot Romantasy. So I have already done like a Romantasy video last year, and I do plan on doing another Romantasy video this year, and not doing like the Goodreads thing, but just like actually reading the ones I own, because I really do want to like continue reading it, and I want to find some of my new favorites with it, especially since I now own a cap that I got from Iceland that says Romantasy Reader on it. And that was like a little bit of a joke, but then I was like, but what if I was? What if I did become a Romantasy reader? And there are some pretty good ones. I just need to find other good ones. This one follows a war general called Julianus, and he can turn into a dragon. And he falls in love with someone who he ends up seeing on the battlefield. Yeah, Melina. She was a Dacian dancer. But then, yeah, he sees her on the battlefield like years later. Things happen after that. I mean, what do you do when you see someone you fancy on the battlefield? Like, what do you do? Turn into a dragon, apparently. Sounds awesome again. Loving the Fairy Loot Romantasy picks. Right, paperback time. I have Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. I did mention this in my spring TBR because I'm going to Jamaica Inn to read Jamaica Inn for my vlogs of Halloween. Filming that one at the end of May. So I ended up thrifting this edition of it from eBay. This one follows Mary, and after the death of her mother, she ends up going on a vacation to Jamaica Inn, which turns out to be the home of her Aunt Patience. However, Aunt Patience is a changed woman. She is married to this man who can be quite violent, and the inn is kind of hiding like criminals and lawless people. And so, yeah, it's not really quite the vacation that Mary wanted after the death of her mother. So excited to read this in Jamaican. I really enjoyed Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, so I know that I like this author. But yeah, I've only read one book by her, so yeah, but yeah. All my books fell in the last book haul video I did as well. It's just like a thing with me. Books just fall. I really should be rather mortified because there's a lot of special editions in there. A lot of pricey books in there. I ain't worried. I'll pick them up. But yeah, I have only read one other book by Daphne du Maurier, and I liked her writing style. But I'd say with the second book, if Rebecca was just a fluke, or if I do actually enjoy this author. Now let's pick up these books. Next I have Goodnight Tokyo by Atsuhiro Yoshida. This one essentially follows a taxi driver, and between the hours of 1 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. he does carry really interesting passengers who he ends up learning their life stories, and it just sounds like one of those like really cozy slice of life kind of books, a bit like Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And so I really should start reading more like slice of life type books in slice of life vlogs that I do, because I've been doing a lot of slice of life vlogs. I should actually read slice of life books during them. But I don't. No, I'm just extremely excited about this one. And I do have a few more that's quite like it. So I do have the Kamogawa Food Detectives by Hisashi Kashiwai. And I want to try and read this one for my cat book video, but I don't think there's actually like cats involved in this. There's just a cat on the cover, so I might not be able to read it for that video. This one is again set in Tokyo. It is set at the Kamogawa Diner, and I think it's a father and daughter duo, and they advertise themselves as like food detectives. So when a customer comes in, they can like say what kind of dish they had in the past, like from anywhere, and they would kind of investigate it and like recreate it kind of thing. And in doing so, it helps the customers to unlock like forgotten memories and feelings that they once had. So it sounds very cute. Next I have The Land of Lost Memories by Sonaka Hirogi. I think I might have bought this one when I was in Iceland. This one is set in Mr. Hirosaka's photography studio, and I think you end up waking up in this place and there is like a stack of photos of your life, but as you know, time passes and as memories fade, I think these photographs also fade. So each visitor to this photography studio, they can choose one photograph to kind of go back in time to recreate and take the photograph again kind of thing. I don't know, it sounds great as well. Like, I just love how creative a lot of these kind of cozy healing books are. Next I have Animal Life, and I'm going to butcher this author's name, I do apologize, by Odor Eva Olofsdøde. Also bought this one in Iceland. I think this might be an Icelandic author. This one follows Dormhilde, and she comes from a long line of midwives in her family, so she is also a midwife. There is a terrible storm heading towards Reykjavik, and she ends up finding these like lost letters of her great aunt, and it goes through like her life, and I think she finds out some new things, and maybe about her family, but also about midwifery. So I don't know, it sounded really cozy, it sounded really nice, and I think it's set during Christmas time as well, so this could be a really good one to read over Christmas. Oh, next I also pulled this one in Iceland. It's James by Percival Everett. Read this one for my 5-star predictions kind of video, and I give this one a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This one is kind of a retelling of Huckleberry Finn, but from the eyes of Jim, or James. So yeah, Jim accompanies Hook on his little adventure, and honestly, this was just such a fantastic read, fantastically written, and I really want to read more of Percival Everett. But I will leave a link to the blog I read this in down below as well if you want more of my in-depth thoughts. Spoiler free, of course, but oh, so good. And then I have The Convenience Store by the Sea, also bought in Iceland, by Sonoko Makita, and I am reading this one at the minute. I'm currently reading this one. I have been fascinated by this cover, love it so much. This is just like a convenience store that's literally by the sea, but it's like a very cozy convenience store, and you know, the staff who work there know the customers, and it's just like really nice and really lovely. And also the fact that the store is called Tenderness, there's just like so much loveliness to do with it. So yeah, currently reading this one. I'm hoping to finish it in the next couple of days, because I need to find joy in reading again, because I have just finished reading, I'll show this one next, A Little Life by Honya Yanagihara. I do have a reading vlog for it. It does have some spoilers in, so I'll link it down below if it comes out before this one. I'm having a little bit of issues with like copyright stuff on it at the minute. Unwarranted copyright stuff, I shall say. A false claim by a random person. So I'm trying to get that sorted. But I have already read this one. I read this one during Allie's like 24-hour readathon, but I read it for longer than that. I ended up spending the weekend reading it, essentially, just last weekend. And yeah, this was a very sad, depressing, awful book. The way that I described this when I was just like reading off the summary was that it follows the lives of 4 university friends as they kind of grow up together, and you know, they have all of these things together. But I would argue that's not really about that by like page 200. It mainly follows Jude and the abuse that he had through his life, and the really traumatic and awful things that happen after it as well. There's a whole lot of trauma, and I would not recommend this to anyone. Did I like this book? It's really hard to say, because I don't think I liked it. I don't know if it was the point to like it, but my feelings on this are very complicated and complex, so I would recommend checking that vlog out if you can. Okay, next I picked up Hell House by Richard Matheson. This one is like a classic haunted house kind of story that I haven't yet read, and I feel like this would be a really good one to take to a haunted location and try and read there. I don't know if any of my booktube friends have read this one and what they think of it, but it is a classic, and so I guess it should be good. Or maybe it's dated. It could be very dated. But this one is set in Belasco House that has been empty for about 20 years. And there have been 2 previous expeditions to investigate the house, but those people ended up, dying or unaliving themselves and have essentially just been destroyed by insanity and all of that. However, there is a new investigation with 4 strangers, and I believe we follow them in this story. So I love the premise of it. I love the idea of it. Oh, it seems like there are a lot of subheadings for like time. So like 11:28 p.m, 6:11 p.m. I'm wondering, like, should I try and read this at the times it's saying? Yeah, 3:17 p.m. So should I try and like read this at all the times it says? So like 3:17 p.m, 3:50 p.m, 4:37 p.m. That could probably take too much time, but I like the idea of that. Thank you so much to the publisher Forshaw for sending me Serial Chillers, The Witch in the Woods by Jennifer Killick. This is the only middle grade, I think, in this entire book haul, but I really like Jennifer Killick. They wrote Crater Lake and other things. This is almost going to be like a Goosebumps kind of series for kids, so like Serial Chillers. This one is The Witch in the Woods, so this is like a standalone kind of story, and I really do hope this takes off because there have been some Goosebumps-esque stories since Goosebumps, but I feel like Goosebumps is like the only horror anthology for kids that really like took off, and there hasn't really been anything in the last like 10 to 15 years that has been a good replacement for it, but hopefully this is the one. Also, thank you so much to Olivia and the publisher for sending me Incidents Around the House by Josh Mellerman. I've been so excited to read this one because people mention a certain scene, like without spoilers, and they keep saying like how creepy and terrifying it is. And I'm like, I want to know what that scene is. Like, please tell me what that scene is. And I haven't actually read Josh Mellerman before. This will be my very first one. A little late at the hype because this did come out last year in 2024. This is like the new paperback release in the UK. But yeah, this sounds almost Coraline-esque. We have Bella, who is the main character. I think she's 8 years old. And she has like her mum and her dad. But there's like the other mum, like an other mummy also. And there's like strange things happening around the house. I've heard some people either love or hate the audiobook as well because the narrator, I think, puts on an 8-year-old girl's voice. So I might just stick to physical. I've heard great things about Don't Let the Forest In by C.J. Drews. I also picked this one up during the 24-hour readathon that I was doing. But yeah, so many people have given this 5 stars and have really recommended this to me. So when I saw this was the last copy of it on the buy one get one half price in Waterstones, I nabbed it up. So we follow Andrew, and he likes to write twisted fairy tales to Thomas. I don't know if Andrew has a crush on Thomas or if there's anything else going on there, but I'm hoping for something a little bit lovely. But also Andrew notices that there is blood on Thomas's sleeve one day, and Thomas's parents have gone missing. Andrew is desperate to uncover the truth, so he follows Thomas into the woods one day, and I don't know what else happens there. Just don't let the forest in. That's the only warning you're getting. I also picked up Human Animal by Seth Insua in Waterstones, also in the buy one get one half price. I believe this one is LGBTQ+, so that is a plus for picking up this book. And we follow a dairy farmer called George who is trying to keep his family business afloat. So this is a literary novel. I am usually hit or miss with literary books, but I have high hopes for this one. George's son Tom comes home from university and he seems to be rather distant, and he like locks himself up in his childhood bedroom. And there are also animal rights activists who kind of create a divide between George and his son Tom. I probably explained that so poorly, but I am still again very excited to read it. I have the first 3 Discworld books by Terry Pratchett. I really love these covers. I don't know if they're new or if they've always looked like this, but I do have The Color of Magic, The Light Fantastic, and Equal Rights. And I'm wondering, should I try and do 3 Discworld books in one video, or should I try and aim for 5 Discworld books in one video? But I do want to try the Discworld series for the first time, so I might just start with the first 3. I am doing them in publication order. That is the order I want to do it. I have been told to do otherwise, but I do want to start from the beginning and work my way from there. I am going to give the series a minimum of 10 books to really hook me before I move on. So don't worry, these will not be the only Discworld books I ever read. And a lot of people have said the first few aren't the best in the series, and that's fine. I don't mind progression, I don't mind growth. But yeah, I always want to try the Discworld series, and I've never read Terry Pratchett before, so we're going to start our first one in 2025. A recommendation from one of Jade's travelers in Iceland, Robin, recommended me I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me by Jameson Shear. Oh, I don't know if you can say that, but my bin men have come. There's just lots going on outside today. We follow someone called Law, Laure, not sure how to pronounce it yet. Laura? Maybe it's Laura. And she is part of the cutthroat world of ballet. She's tired of being overlooked, so she ventures deep into the catacombs in Paris in order to make a deal. And it seems to be like this pulsing river of blood that she can make a pact with, and that will change her life around. But I love anything to do with like Faustian pacts and things like that, so I'm excited. I'm very excited for this. So thank you so much, Robin, for, well, 1, recommending me this, and 2, finding it in a bookstore for me. Really appreciate it. I also picked up I Think They Love You by Julian Winters. This one is a black gay romance, and I have not read nearly enough of those. So I really do want to get on my shit and read this one. It looks so good. It has glowing reviews online. This one follows Denzel, and his father is a CEO in a company, and he has announced his retirement. So Denzel wants to replace his father and be his successor, but he needs to prove himself. And part of what he needs to do to prove himself is to prove that he's in a serious relationship, which he obviously isn't. So we have this like fake dating kind of thing. In this one, we have Denzel going to the last person he ever wanted to get with, and I think it was his ex called Braylon, who once broke his heart. So I have no idea what happened there. Hopefully it's juicy, hopefully it's dramatic. But yeah, excited to give it a go. Oh, a book that I have read, and I read it in my 24-hour again, is Strange Pictures by Iketsu. This was written like almost like a creepypasta kind of thing. We have like 4 different little stories that all connect, and there are weird pictures that people draw either before they die or actually, yeah, before they die. Or actually, one of them was just like a strange kid, just drawn pictures. But sometimes you have to look at them differently in order to put the pieces together. And there is like a bit of an investigation going on by the end of it also. But this was so good. It isn't the best written thing I've ever read, but I just turned my brain off for it and I suspended my disbelief at times. And I just really thoroughly enjoyed this story. A little bit creepy at times, not quite scary, didn't quite scare me, but I liked how inventive it was with the diagrams and the pictures. So definitely worth checking out, and I will definitely read more from this author. And then I have Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. I'm doing a book troop in a few months' time for a different Nat Cassidy book, but I have been recommended this one, so I might either try and read this one before the book troop one, or I might read the book troop one first and say that was like my very first Nat Cassidy and come to the book club live show as a Nat Cassidy virgin. But I have actually had my eye on this ever since people have been recommended it online. So this one follows Anna and Reed, and Anna gave birth to their first child, but it left her paralyzed. They end up getting lucky and winning an apartment in Manhattan. However, it's a bit strange. I think weird and horrific things happen at this apartment building. So again, sounds right up my street. Oh, I picked up this and I said, honestly, the amount of books I ended up picking up from Iceland. The Impusium, a health resort horror story by Olga Tokarczuk, I think. This one is set in a health resort in the Silesian mountains. This sounds very isolating, it sounds very atmospheric. And all the while there are really disturbing things happening in the resort, in the mountains around the resort, in the guest house and things like that. And there is a newcomer who is trying to unravel the truth in the place. And I just love how understated the cover of this is. It just looks like a normal ass book, but it sounds rather terrifying at the same time. Also managed to pick up The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving because I have plans for it this year. And I've never read this story before. It's kind of a short story, and I've only ever seen like adaptations of it, like the 1999 film Sleepy Hollow. And obviously it's going to be like totally different to the short story, so excited to give it a read. I'm not going to say too much more about that one. A couple of random ones as well. I have 25 Icelandic ghost stories I picked up in Iceland, as well as Icelandic folk tales. I would love to like read these so that I can get a better understanding of like some of the culture in Iceland and the ghost stories as well, because I'm just fascinated by that. And then I also have 4 books that are jokes. Like, these are jokes. I think this person is very popular in Iceland because I saw these books in like pretty much every like gas station we went to, in every bookstore we went to. And I don't even know if I can even try and pronounce it, but like, here we go. It's like a collection of cartoons by this author. We have I Hate Dolphins. These sound hilarious, but also the humor is like, what did you just say? I've also got this one, which I don't think I can read out loud, but obviously it caught my attention. You Are Nothing as well, which I saw this one and I was like, you know what, you're right. You are right. And then also Poppets. Like, what is going on that cover? Like, what is happening there? So I was having a little flick through, and it's just like things like A Bridge Over Troubled Water, so like a song, and then there's a person on a bridge looking down at some water, like a river, and the river says, my wife is leaving me. So obviously that's a bridge over troubled water. So it's like taking things literally. I'm a Barbie girl, and then you have someone standing there saying, as you can see, the patient has neither nipples nor genitals, but amazing hair. So just like really random things. Like, what the hell? Some of these drawings, oh my God. It's just like, you know, when you flick through, it's just like so weird. Like, what's this one? I literally just flicked to a random page. It didn't say on your profile you had 2 heads. I also have 2 dicks. What? So yeah, can't explain those books. Don't want to explain those books. Might leave them on my coffee table though. So going into some like nerdy manga, danmai kind of stuff. I have like a One Piece novel. Like, this is a novelization, I think from the 4Kids dub thing. They did release like some novelizations of One Piece. And so I thought it would be fun to do a video reading these like really old books. I thrifted this online. I say really old books. This came out in 2006 apparently. So it's been like nearly 20 years. And yeah, I just thought I would read the novelization, see how it holds up against like the anime and the manga. I think that'll be fun. I think there was like maybe 6 books released, and I have the first one, King of the Pirates, so I want to read that. I also picked up a special edition of Heaven Official's Blessing, which I want to read when I go to China next week. Although when this video goes out, I should probably be in China reading this. But this will be my very first Danmai. I've got Dr. Stone Volume 6, Cherry Magic Volume 8, Blue Lock Volume 3, Someday I'll Fall For You Volume 1. This is a boy love manga, and it looks very, very cute and wholesome and lovely, while also being like very steamy as well. I got Gannibal Volume 2, Delicious in Dungeon Volume 2 and 3, One Piece Volume 108, of course, and The Titan's Bride Volume 4 and 5. So there we go. That's my very quick little manga haul there. And only one of them was like a first volume. The rest of them are continuations of a series that I enjoy. So really not much more to say about those. So yeah, that's my entire book haul for the last couple of months. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave this video a like if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all your comments down below. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I mentioned in this video. Is there anything I should prioritize? Any books that you want to get to yourself? Any books that you need to buy yourself? Let's just talk all things new books, new releases down below. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel. They join my Patreon, then the link is in the description box. But yeah, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.